Let's make a little tripod again, a trilogy that comes this morning, and see what it evokes in us. But first is that old Sufi story about Al-Junaid and Shibli. Al-Junaid was a very, very proud and arrogant courtier of the Sultan's court. He was born as a noble and worked his way up to being a very important member of the Sultan's entourage. But he was very proud and very arrogant. But he heard of the great Sufi master, Sheikh Shibli. So he went to him, and in his very proud manner, he demanded of Shibli, "I want what you have. Either sell it to me or give it to me." And with equal force, Shibli replied, "If I sell it to you, you would not have its worth. And if I gave it to you, you would not know its value." Though somewhat chastened by this, Al-Junaid asked, "Then what must I do?" And Shibli said, "You must do what I did. That is, learn obedience." So it must have been, as we know, a ripe moment in Al-Junaid's life, because there was no question. He immediately, from that moment, made his mandate obedience. So he said to Shibli, "What must I do now?" And Shibli said, Go and become a merchant, a seller of sulfur." So Al-Junaid went off, and he became a very successful merchant. Of course, he had that forceful way about him, authority, so he was a good salesman and became a very successful merchant, a seller of sulfur. But then he went back to his master, Shibli, and Shibli said to him, "Now, you must go to that far province where you were a governor, and during your time as a governor, you were very cruel, authoritarian, and uncaring. Go and make repentance, make retribution to all those who you harmed." So Al-Junaid went off to that province, and there he learned awareness of people, and he made his retributions. After some time, he came back to Shibli, and Shibli said, Now you will become a beggar." And for 3 years, Al-Junaid every day had to go out into the streets and beg. During those 3 years, there were some days when he came back and the master Shibli did not even give him a few coins to buy food. So his belly was empty. For 3 years, he begged. Then Shibli said to him, "Now you will become a servant of my servants." So again, for more years, Al Aljuned was a servant to those who served the master. Aljuned became one of the greatest Sufi sheikhs. But in all of the years that he roamed that known world, wearing his ragged dervish patchwork cloak, which defined him as a dervish, a beggar, because a dervish is a seeker. Aljuned was a master, a great Sufi teacher, and beneath his patchwork robe and the veneer of being a beggar, a seeker, was the noble. No more arrogance, but there was still that force. And he would say to people, "To your mind, I'm mad. And to my mind, you're sane. But I pray to increase my madness, and you your sanity, because my madness is from the power of love, and yours from greed and ignorance." In this way, he was that teacher and master, Aljuned. Then there are several very simple stories, but when we combine them with this Sufi tale, let's see what the chemistry works for us. One is the story of a king who sought all his life for something perfect. He had great gems brought to him, until one day he was given an exquisite diamond, faceted so perfectly. When you looked into its depths, there was purity as far as you could see. And every day he would take out this diamond to inspect it, look at its perfection, and after dealing with all the troubles of his daily life, seeing people and their problems and solving the difficulties of a kingdom, he could look at this diamond and for himself realize that there was something perfect in this imperfect world. Then one day, as he was inspecting the diamond, a terrible thing happened. He dropped the diamond. And when he picked it up and looked in the light, there was a great crack from top to bottom, and he was devastated. Here, this that he'd found as the only perfect thing was no longer perfect. So he tried everything. What could he do? He had various craftsmen who said that they could bring it back to perfection, but no one could, until one day an old beggar came to his palace, and somehow he found his way into the presence of the king. He said, "I can bring your diamond back to perfection." King thought, "No, everyone's tried, but no one was able." But he gave the diamond to the beggar. And the next day, the beggar brought it back to him and said, here is your perfect diamond. The king looked up, but there was still the jagged crack right through the middle, from top to bottom. And he said, what are you making joke of me? No, said the beggar. And he turned the diamond up, and there the beggar had carved a little rose right at the tip of where the jagged crack appeared. So when you looked, even though you could not see the rose by looking into the diamond, you could find a rose nestled at the top, so that the rose became that which sat on top of the long crack which appeared in the diamonds. And the last and very simple story is the story of a little apple tree. A little apple tree that was nestled as a seedling in between a great oak forest. And the little apple tree grew. And around it were these majestic oak trees. And it would look at the oak trees, wishing that it had their great magnificence as their branches spread out. And then, one night, the little apple tree looked up and saw the stars. But the oak trees were so grand that the stars looked as though they were hanging from the branches of the oak trees. And the apple tree said, I want stars in my branches too. So it begged, please God, I want to have stars in my branches like the oak tree. And God said, wait, have patience. And after some while, as the little apple tree matured, its branches grew blossoms. There was a wonderful fragrance, and people would come to smell the fragrance of the apple blossoms. But still, the apple tree, when it looked up and saw the stars seeming to hang from the branches of the great oaks, would importune God, please, I want to have stars in my branches. God said, wait. And after some while, the blossoms in the little apple trees became fruit, and people would come to eat the apples. But even still, the little apple tree importuned God, please, I want stars in your branches. But God said, look, you have apples which you give to the people, how they enjoy your fruits. But still, the little apple tree wanted stars in its branches. Then one day, at a moment, God sent a wind, and the wind blew the branches of the oak trees, and the wind came down and shook the branches of the little apple tree, and an apple fell to the ground and split open. And there inside the apple was a star. God said to the apple tree, "You see, you have stars." When we put these three simple stories together, what do they evoke in us in the way of understanding? Understanding that arises from our own experiences now. We who still wear the garb, the patchwork robe of the dervish, or our ordinariness. What do these stories mean for you now?